Hello, welcome to BioGreat TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. How Eritrea got independent. There is an African proverb that says, "It is better to eat a mushroom in freedom than to eat meat in slavery." Eritreans certainly understood this saying in principle, which is why they fought long and hard for the 30-year Eritrean War of Independence from 1961 to 1991. They refused to be satisfied with partial freedom when it was offered. No, they preferred to suffer in complete freedom. And of course, they got the freedom they so deserved. Let's take a walk through history and see the path Eritrea had to take. Historically, Eritrea was part of the Kingdom of Ethiopia as its northern province. It was home to a very important harbor city along the coast of the Red Sea called Massawa. By the 16th century, it had fallen into the hands of the Ottoman Empire and remained under their control for about 300 years. By the 19th century, invaders from Italy came calling, and between 1869 and 1880, an Italian company, the Rubattino Navigation Company, acquired from the local sultan some stretches of coastline near the small town of Aseb. These holdings were later transferred to the Italian state. Then in 1885, Italian troops landed at Aseb and Massawa. They met little resistance as they advanced towards the Ethiopian highlands. They eventually settled in Eritrea and pronounced it Italian Eritrea, a colony of the Kingdom of Italy. Italy treasured its new colony greatly. Tens of thousands of Italian settlers came to live there. In 5 years, their number grew from just over 4,000 to about 75,000. Roads and railways were constructed and lots of factories were built. But as was the case with all European colonies in Africa at this period, little was done to improve the conditions of the Eritreans, although many of them were employed in factories in the colony. However, by the Second World War, Eritrea fell to British administration when the Italians were expelled in 1941. The British placed Eritrea under British military administration until Allied forces could determine what its fate would be. When no agreement was reached among the Allies concerning the status of Eritrea, British administration continued for the remainder of World War II and until 1950. In the 1950s, the Ethiopian administration under Emperor Haile Selassie laid claim of what was once part of their ancient territory. He wrote to President Franklin D. Roosevelt at the Paris Peace Conference and at the first session of the United Nations. Eventually, Eritrea was merged with Ethiopia by a United Nations resolution. This was meant to be a reward to Ethiopia for supporting the Allied cause during the Second World War. By this arrangement, Eritrea was to have its own administrative and judicial structure, its own flag, and control over its domestic affairs, including police and local administration, while the imperial government of Ethiopia was to control foreign affairs, defense, finance, and transportation. Even though by this resolution, Eritreans will still have a measure of autonomy and democratic rights, it still went against the wishes of Eritreans who wanted full independence and the right to govern themselves. Their calls to the United Nations for a referendum were not heeded. As part of their agitations for independence, a group of Eritreans founded the Eritrean Liberation Movement (ELM) in 1958. The organization majorly consisted of Eritrean students, professionals, and intellectuals. It engaged in secret political activities intended to put up a resistance to the centralizing policies of the Ethiopian state. On the 1st of September 1961, the Eritrean Liberation Front (ELF), under the leadership of Hamid Idris Awate, began to wage an armed struggle for independence. This prompted the Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie to dissolve the Eritrean parliament and annex the territory in 1962. That marked the beginning of the Eritrean War for Independence, which continued for 30 years against successive Ethiopian leaders until 1991, when the Eritrean People's Liberation Front (EPLF), an offshoot of the Eritrean Liberation Front (ELF), defeated the Ethiopian military forces in Eritrea and helped a coalition of rebel forces take control of the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa. Finally, the referendum that the Eritreans had been requesting for decades was held, supervised by the United Nations, in April 1993. The Eritrean people overwhelmingly voted for independence, casting up to 99% votes in favor of becoming independent. So, on the 27th of April 1993, Eritrea got her independence. The Secretary General of the EPLF, Isaias Afwerki, became the first president, though of a transitional government. What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.